Let's jump in our time machine and travel back in time, right here in San Diego. Back before there were freeways and cars, before there were buildings, roads, and bicycles. 1,000 years ago, when it was just the land, the birds, and the animals, and the Kumeyaay people. The Kumeyaay were Native Americans that lived here over 1,000 years ago. There were many tribes living across what is now our state of California. The Kumeyaay lived in what is now San Diego County and part of northern Baja California in Mexico. Let's learn about how the Kumeyaay lived.
It is rare to be cold in San Diego, and people want to get out of the wind to sleep.
For the Kumeyaay, it was easy to build a new house. They just needed the right branches and grasses to build a house.
When the Kumeyaay moved, they had to be close to water and food and move when they needed food and water.
As you can see, if you look in the middle of the picture, you can see a little bit of water. The houses were called iwa. They were circular structures woven from willow branches and leaves. Cooking was done in the fire pits outside.
Mats or rabbit skins covered the doorways and grasses.
It was used to soften the floor. This was a mat. Thank you for watching
And listening. Bye.
The men usually wore no clothes. The men only wore gave belts. Sometimes the men wore filbert sandals over rough or thorny areas. Children wore no clothes, but grown-ups wore some tattoos.
They uploaded into Google Drive.
Willow bark skirts were worn by Kumeyaay women. Basket hats were worn by both men and women. Women are tattooed on the chest, sometimes on their forehead, cheeks, and arms. Plants and animals were used for clothing. The grown-ups wore face paint and paint on their, and for special occasions, the men wore paint on their body.
Kumeyays gathered acorn, nuts, and beans. The acorns were their main source of food. Women would grind the nuts and especially the acorns to make meal, so they could use it to make bread and cakes. They would go out in the valleys in search of roots, nuts, and beans to eat.
Small hunting. They hunted rabbits. They used the pointy part of an arrow only to hunt the rabbit. The men hunted all year round. They hunted quail, wood rats, and rabbits.
The Kumeyaay collected oysters, lobster, and abalone as food. Pieces of shell were used for hooks for catching fish with. After the sea life were caught, they were eaten right then or were dried. Trapping fish was called weir fishing.
Food was provided deer, bighorn sheep, and obsidian. The men hunted antelope, deers, and sheep. Done.
We are going to be talking about baskets.
Basket hats are worn by men and women to protect their foreheads. They can also use the hat for carrying water and items when needed.
They were tight weavers made out of willow bark. The bigger baskets were used for food. Some baskets were more ordinary and were used for gifts. Baskets have detailed patterns and colors. Granny baskets are used to store yearly harvests. You kill was for putting your babies in the baskets. Thank you for watching our show.
The Kumeyaay made pots from local clay. These pots were used to store nuts, seeds, grain, or water. Kumeyaay people had leaders who were either born as leaders or people that were so good they became leaders.
Shamans were important because they held ceremonies for the Kumeyaay people.
This is a painting from the olden days in Kumeyaay.
This is one of the dances they did in Kumeyaay.
This is one of the instruments that they used to create music in Kumeyaay.
The Kumeyaay played ball games such as rabbit stick throwing, races, soccer, and shinny.
Peon is a very old, if not ancient, California Indian community game that involves traditional singing. Peon is an ancient Native American gambling game played with pieces of white and black bones, sticks, and blankets. The end.